Hey guys, it's Maggie and I am back today, and today I want to talk about pooling periods, an issue that not just us without rectums deal with. I want to thank the new people that have joined this channel, that have subscribed from my video where I talk about not having an anus. I know that that is TMI for some people, but I got so much support on that video from people who have never even heard of the surgery, that never knew it was possible to live without one. And as somebody who had previously feared sharing about their illness and then kind of just saw how beneficial it was to do so, it really means a lot. So today, the topic of today's video is sort of related to that, but also not necessarily. Because I chose to have my colon and rectum removed and therefore the anus sewn shut because I got all of my rectum removed, there is not a bit left in there. It caused a number of issues that I was not aware of. It's a surgery that not many talk about. It's been done many times, but because of the intimate area and the embarrassment that some feel with having to have it done, people don't really share the issues that they have afterwards. And that's what I found is when I started to have issues with my period and really my whole female reproductive system after the surgery, I was sitting there like, why did nobody tell me about this? This is kind of ridiculous. So I began sharing online about the issues that I was having and came to realize that it's not just those of us who have had their colon and rectum removed or other surgeries. People who have never had surgeries have issues with this. So over the last 3 years, I've tried to come up with different solutions to help with some of the symptoms that I deal with. So I'm going to talk about some of those in this video. I'm going to talk about the fail that I had recently with a product I tried. I really wanted it to work and it totally did not. And I'll explain a little more like anatomically what's going on inside of me. If you're unfamiliar with my story, I'll just give the very brief background because I know a lot of people who watch my videos are very much aware of it. I have Crohn's disease. It is a form of inflammatory bowel disease. I did notice there was a little bit of confusion between IBD and IBS. They are two different illnesses. IBD is inflammatory bowel disease, of which Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis are two subtypes of it. There are actually a number of different IBDs, but Crohn's and colitis are probably the most well-known. IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, is something completely different. It's a functional disorder. I've actually made a video on this channel comparing and contrasting the two, so if you're curious about that, I will try to find it and link it below in the description. But yes, I suffer from IBD, Crohn's disease specifically. Upon diagnosis, I actually had inflammation from my esophagus all the way down and was put on medication that helped heal most of it, except for my colon and rectum. They were by far the most damaged, and long story short, I now live with an ileostomy. It's a piece of intestine that comes out of my abdomen, on which I wear an adhesive plastic bag. That's how I go to the bathroom, essentially diverting how that works for me. And then I had the rest, the colon, the rectum, removed because they became too severely diseased. Pretty soon after that surgery, I realized that something weird was going on. I remember getting my period maybe like a week after the surgery, and I didn't really notice anything different because it was lighter, probably from all of the stress your body goes under with this surgery. But later on, as the months went on, I realized something is weird with my uterus and my vagina. Something is not working right. I wound up going to my primary care doctor multiple times, getting checked for yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis. I did have yeast infections, but it actually was a kind of side issue or a result of what was actually going on. I went back to my surgeon multiple times explaining what I was experiencing, and I went to my gynecologist multiple times to explain what I was experiencing, and they swabbed me multiple times checking for things, and they thought originally that I was experiencing a fistula. And a fistula is just a tunneling between two places. I always say it's your body trying to find the path of least resistance. So what they thought it was a rectovaginal fistula, except there was no rectum anymore, so the space that would have been my rectum, they thought there may be an abscess, and it had tunneled to my vagina and was leaking out. Essentially, and I know that this is very personal, intimate information, so if you don't enjoy that, please don't watch the video. You don't need to tell me in the comments. What I was experiencing was a lot of discharge, and it wasn't like I had an infection. It didn't feel that way. It didn't look that way, but I was having what seemed to be an excess amount of discharge that would build up and suddenly all come out of me at once, and it was making going out of the house very difficult. This was really a problem when I would get my period, because I noticed that it would sort of pool inside of me and then all come out at once. So I wound up getting a CAT scan, and they didn't see any fistula, and I'm sitting there like, what the heck is going on with me? Why is this happening? And this is why I advocate for talking, sharing what's going on with you, especially in communities that, also have the same disease or illness as you. I wound up connecting. I was on a phone call with my friend, and she was looking to actually get the same surgery as me, but she hadn't. And the reason she hadn't was because she talked to her surgeon about potential issues afterwards, and one of them was this pooling issue, because how she explained it to me was that her surgeon said, when you take the rectum out, the rectum provides a lot of support to the uterus and to the vagina. When you take that rectum away, your vagina kind of outpouches inside of you. A lot of people don't think that the different organs in the pelvic floor are related to each other or affect each other. They really do. They absolutely do. And so when she told me that, I was like, whoa, wait. I think that's what's wrong with me. And then I'm thinking, why the heck did the surgeon not warn me about this? He didn't know. He didn't know that this was an issue, probably because not many of his patients came back to be like, oh my gosh, this is happening. But loudmouth Maggie, who wanted an answer, kept going back to him and bugging him. So I wound up going back and explaining, like, I think this is the issue. And I later had it confirmed by a pelvic floor therapist. As I started to share online about this, I realized it is not just somebody who doesn't have a rectum anymore that has this. People who've never had surgery experience this pooling issue. And I guess to an extent before I had surgery, if I was sitting down too long or laying down too long, when you stand up, you suddenly get that pooling explosion. A lot of fun. I would get that, but I think that's kind of a universal experience with periods. But I realized that in the comments, people are saying, I experienced this too, but I still have a rectum and all of that. So there are many different causes to this issue, which I would love to explore further. If you have this experience, please let me know. And if you know why you're experiencing it, that would be even better so I can look into it further. But over the last 3 years, I'm like, okay, I need to figure out a solution to this, because me going about my day and suddenly having all of this fluid come out, it's concerning. I learned that throughout the month, it wasn't just on my period that I was having this pooling. It was my regular daily discharge, because that is a totally normal thing. It's your whole reproductive system cleaning itself. It's totally normal. But what was happening to me was it was collecting and all coming out at once. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even leave the house. So anyways, I have been looking into and trying different products just to minimize this issue a bit, particularly around my period, because it is more voluminous. A whole other element to this is that I have adenomyosis. When I found out about it and I shared with you guys on YouTube, I was kind of like, I don't seem to have any symptoms of it. I don't think it affects me. But as I become more familiar with my cycle, I've really been tracking and paying attention to it more because of fertility reasons. It's making me wonder if my periods are a little bit unusual or heavier because of that. But that's a whole other element to this that I am like trying to educate myself about right now. I bought a book on adenomyosis and I downloaded all these articles to just further understand it better, because it's just not many people seem to know about it. But anyways, when it comes to periods, it really did get to a point where on my heaviest day, we could not leave the house. I remember one time we went to lunch and we were going to go to Hobby Lobby. I know. I like the decor. I really enjoy it. But we were going to go there and I bled through the product that I was using. And I had just changed it like an hour before. And I bled through, and I was like, we gotta go home. I don't have any extra products with me because I thought that I was good, and my period was super heavy and pooling, and it was just a disappointment. So I learned, okay, I won't leave the house when this is happening. I would bleed through clothing multiple times. It's something I never experienced as a teenager, unless I just really wasn't paying attention. So it was a new experience for me, and brought, a little bit of shame. I'm like, I'm in my later 20s. Why can I not handle my own period? I've had it for a while now. I should be able to manage this. So I realized that tampons and pads they were not working for me. Again, if you don't like hearing the talk of blood and periods and things like that, please don't watch this video. Because I'm going to talk about it. But my experience with both the tampons and the pads was that because blood would pool inside of me, it would tend to clot up a little bit, become thicker, and not absorb into a tampon or a pad. So if I was wearing something like a pad and suddenly all of that came out, it wouldn't absorb fast enough, and it would just kind of roll off of it and all over my clothes. Yeah, like it was annoying and it's embarrassing, and I was like, come on, why can I not handle this? So I really had to think about my new anatomy and how there seems to be this outpouching that, my pelvic floor therapist felt. She went in there and she's like, yes, I can definitely feel there's some sort of towards the back, it just kind of pouches outwards where your rectum would be otherwise. And so in the past on YouTube, I've shown different things that I was looking forward to trying, like period cups like this. I haven't used this because I couldn't actually insert it. I don't know, maybe I could try it again now that I'm a few years out from the surgery, but the issue with this is that it wasn't flexible enough for somebody who had recently had stitches so close to where you're inserting it. So I couldn't get this to work. And I know that there are multiple period cups available out there, the different silicone ones. The problem is this cost me, I think this was a dual pack, because I've got another one here. I don't actually know the difference. I think one's small and one's large. Yeah, this looks bigger, and there's dog fur all over it. Don't worry, I'm not... If I do decide to use it, it will be thoroughly cleaned, but silicone very much attracts dog fur. It was far too painful to try and insert these, and I think this cost $40 for the two of these, so it wasn't like I was going to keep buying different ones to try them out and then not be able to do anything with them. It's a waste of money, and I just didn't have the ability to do that. So I've got these sitting around. I've held on to them. It's the Lena menstrual cup. I was thinking that with the period cup, it would be able to collect and it not have to absorb into anything in order to collect, which is why I liked that a lot. I really like the concept. So then I was thinking, okay, let me look into other options. I know in the past, a long time ago, I had tried Diva cups, which actually I don't think were cups. They were just these little plastic rings with a little bit of plastic. So I bought them again, tried them out. I know that in the past I had successfully been able to insert them and take them out. Obviously, after surgery, it's a little bit different, but I have one right here. I found a lot of success with these. So here they are. It is a ring that you can bend and it's got a little plastic pouch here, which I've always been worried that a hole will poke into this and there will be some leakage, but I've never actually experienced that. And I found that I could actually squeeze this into, you know, a pretty thin size and insert it without the pain of stretching out the area, but it would also be wide enough to catch the blood, large enough to collect, you know, all of the pooling that I have. The only issue is that taking it out is a little stressful. It's a bit messy. So I haven't quite figured out that yet in the few years that I've been using this, but I found that this has been the most successful thing for me, is that, you know, it lasts long enough where I can usually rely on it when I go out of the house. You're supposed to be able to keep it in for 12 hours. I don't usually get that long out of it when I'm using it, but I can rely on it for a few hours, so I will make sure that this is completely empty or brand new. If we're leaving the house, I'll do it right beforehand so I know, okay, I've got some time with this. Now, recently I was thinking about really liking the idea of something reusable. This is disposable. You use it for a day, you throw it away. Works great for me, but I would really like something that I could reuse and not necessarily have to throw away multiple little things of plastic. I recognize that as a patient, I have limited control over the waste that I have. This is something I can, you know, try and find a solution to. When it comes to ostomy bags, unfortunately, there is no solution at this point for, you know, the amount of plastic that I have to use. So they have recently, it seems like a bunch of different companies, they have come out with silicone versions of a period disc rather than a period cup. So I bought the period disc version, the reusable version of this. It's this. It did not work out. I was so excited to open it because I was like, man, this will be great. I can wash it, reuse it, and it's just one tiny thing to manage my period. When I was going through all these different products, trying to figure it out, I was like, I just feel like I'm wasting so much. So I was very excited to try this out. The problem that I had, and I don't know if this is an anatomical issue because of surgery, or if this is a anatomical issue because I am a smaller person, I have no problem popping this into place. Sometimes it takes a little maneuvering and wiggling, but when you insert it, you kind of feel it pop up into place. This will not do that for me. I tried multiple times. I started to think that I was crazy, and so I went back to this and realized, nope, I can get this one in just fine. And then I realized it's a little bit longer. So, you see that? This one's a little bit longer. I don't know. I don't know why they made them different sizes. I was so disappointed. This cost me over $30, and I was irritated. They're both by the company Flex. Unfortunately, this, like, I don't know what to do with it. No one else is going to want this unless you're a weirdo on the internet. No one else is going to want to use this because I've already tried it out. I can't return it. And they don't have different sizes. So I did a little looking online and I did see other companies. There's Cora, and they have, I think, a version that is meant for people that have sensitive bladders. So I assume it's softer. It might be able to pop into place a little easier. I think Salt has a reusable disc version that they have a smaller size in. And I want to purchase it, but I'm like just trying to justify the purchase of another $30 to $40 disc. That may or may not work for me. So for the time being, because I have another box of these, I'm going to keep using these. They're very helpful for when my period is at its heaviest. Thankfully, the heaviness only lasts for a day or two, and I actually found, I don't know if people will see this as a benefit or not a benefit, I, through pelvic floor therapy, have learned how to kind of be more aware of the feelings in my pelvic floor, if that makes sense. And I can feel a heaviness when blood or whatever has collected. And so when I get to a point where my period is a little bit lighter, I kind of become aware of when it's there and collecting, and I can go to the bathroom and just bear down like I was going to the bathroom, and it's gone. It's kind of cool actually, but that's my experience. So this is how I've kind of learned to handle my periods now that they're really weird. And I thought that I would share about that, share about the reusable discs in case you want to try them. They are starting to become more available. I noticed this was more of a recent thing. You know, the period cups, the reusable period cups have been around for a while, but the reusable discs seem to be making an entrance into the market. So if you weren't aware, now you are. But I thought I would just talk about it because I know I'm not the only one experiencing pooling issues when it comes to their period. It is annoying, and you know, I'm already dealing with other health things that I have to manage, and I just really didn't want my period to be one of them. But thankfully I've found some solutions. I'm still working on it, so I will update you if I try anything else, but that's where I'm at with it. So I just wanted to share about that. I see I have a dog behind me. That's Bruno. Yeah, thank you so much for being patient with me. I wanted to upload this weekend. It was just kind of a blah weekend. It feels like we did so much, but we did absolutely nothing. And if you guys have noticed, I am wearing my engagement ring only. Sometimes I don't wear my rings and people are like, oh my God, is everything okay? So I actually stopped wearing my rings because it seemed like I was developing an allergy to them, and I would wear them if we were going out of the house or whatever. But this weekend I had put both of my rings on a coffee table in our living room. Somehow they both got knocked off, and Nanners, sweet Nanners, she decided that my wedding ring was a snack, and so here is my wedding ring. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty bent. So, I'm really sad about it. I'm gonna get it fixed. I've had my engagement ring actually bend before, and they were able to fix it. This is kind of like mangled and twisted, so I'm gonna get that fixed, and I'm actually going to see if they can coat this in something because I decided to just try wearing my engagement ring. I've had my engagement ring for, I don't know, 6 years, and I have basically worn it nonstop until recently when I started getting the problem on my finger. This is not causing the issue. I've been wearing this for days now, and I'm not getting any issue, so it is definitely my wedding band that is causing the problem. And you know, I've tried cleaning it and stuff. Oh my God, it's more bent than I thought. I can't look at it. Yeah, they're gonna have to fix it. Thankfully the diamonds are all in there. She didn't swallow any of those. Oh my gosh, I don't know how she got it. I don't know how it fell on the floor. It's not like a low coffee, it's not a coffee table, it's a side table, so it's high up. She is a short little pocket potato, and she was sitting behind my chair, and I heard her chewing, and I was like, what the heck do you have in your mouth? And it was my wedding ring. I'm thankful she didn't swallow it. Oh my God, that would have been horrible. I'm thankful that I realized. It feels like every other second though when you have 4 dogs, it's like, what are you eating? What do you have? What do you got? Although my dogs are pretty good and they don't usually eat stuff that they're not supposed to. Bruno has a thing about laundry baskets. He doesn't like them, so he eats them. Dixie has a thing about shoes. She'll eat shoes every now and then, so we just keep her away from shoes. Holly likes chapstick. And Nanners, it seems like little metal things she doesn't like, including my wedding ring. So that was this weekend, and I just wanted to share it with you. I will be wearing my engagement ring. Apparently I just can't stand being married. I don't know. I guess that's it. Not just being engaged. Oh, guys. Anyways, I hope that you were feeling good. Let me know if you have similar experiences with your period, because it's a little frustrating, but I feel like I've kind of figured it out at least a little bit after 3 years of this. And Yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys really soon. Bye, guys.